So the next stage, we found kind of product market fit. The next stage is kind of scaling. How do you look at scaling? Is it different channels? Is it different products? What do you think of when I say scaling?
Yeah, what comes to mind first is a way to sell the thing. So when you scale something, you scale everything. And so is the method that you're using to sell it in the first place, A, does that work? Or do you have that? And then B, how does that scale? So with a sales team, as an example, you can kind of staircase a sales team. So with a webinar that books phone calls or a VSL that books phone calls, you can start off with one closer. You run ads until his availability goes down. Then you bring on a new guy. And then you can increase ad spend and then so on and so forth. But very often you'll run into organizational challenges, which then impact your ability to do that stepping.
Okay. And what are your thoughts on kind of the lead flow and the marketing side of the pie? And by that, I mean, at what stage are you adding other channels and more complexity?
It's different for every business. I think the question comes down to risk of how much risk are you prepared to accept on having a single channel.
What do you mean by that?
So let's say you just built your business of meta ads and your meta ad account goes under. That's quite a large risk to the business. It's a very large risk if the business is doing, let's say, 3 million a month as an example, and it's all on meta. Like, I
know a lot of info businesses that seem to be scaled off of entirely one channel.
Yeah,
like ads.
It is increasingly common, and for most people, it actually makes a lot of sense because it does take work to set up another channel. When it comes to setting up another channel, I would consider the time and the skills of do you have that ability to do it in the first place? Because it's not always as easy as it works on Meta, it'll work on YouTube. There are nuances on how you can...
Different audiences, different
audiences, or just like different intent. Like you have to write really good ads for YouTube because you're competing with kind of like the Mr. Beasts or YouTubers whose full-time job
style content.
Is to make videos that people watch and get clicked on. So your ads have to be, to a degree, somewhat better than that.
Versus a picture of Susan on a night out.
On Meta, exactly. And so YouTube is harder in that sense. But when you crack it, there is a lot of money to be made on YouTube. So like to test that funnel with maybe a 14-day sales cycle, you have to throw several $1,000s into it before you know if it's going to be successful or not. Where I like low ticket is, let's say the CPA of a book funnel is $100. You can spend a couple of $100 and you kind of know like directionally how it's going to go. Oftentimes, even before that, like the CPA is just so much cheaper.
And are you trying to break even on that?
Ideally make money. Quite often it will start to break even as you scale it up. And that's where you have to then get creative with the creative and all the CRO on the page.
I guess what I'm trying to get at though is what is next after that kind of low ticket product? Like, are you trying to ascend people? Are you trying to create a community? What are you doing with those purchases?
You're trying to send people.
So to the high ticket?
To high ticket, yeah.
So is it almost like instead of going straight to the high ticket with a cool funnel, you're just kind of putting a step in between?
Yeah, you're selling to buyers instead of cold leads. And let's just use Meta as an example. I think product-led growth as the overarching principle is definitely something worth investing in. And from a purely advertising standpoint, Meta can optimize based off of buyers. So if people are buying your low ticket, you can basically bring more of that exact person into your funnel, and you can scale that up.
Is there anything else you would kind of advise, in this space? So in that kind of low ticket world?
Yeah, if you can figure out affiliates, the way that they are using it right now from ecom and apply that to info, I think you'll do remarkably well. Andrew Tate is obviously poster boy for pulling that off.
Yep.
And then there's another guy called Philip Johansson who's based out in Europe, who's done a similar thing with his kind of VSL funnel.
Yep.
Who scaled it with affiliates.
Okay.
I think that's a really interesting idea right now.
Okay. The final piece I want to touch on this kind of theoretical side of things is margins. So you said kind of, in the info world, they've taken a bit of a hit. We all know ad costs are up.
Yeah.
What do you think is, and maybe this is a question you can't answer, but if you could try and give kind of a rough ballpark, what is like a decent margin that you see in kind of the info space at scale?
Yeah. I would take a leaf out of ecom's book. So at scale, going closer to like 30%.
Okay. Any thoughts on the differences between kind of the online space models, business models?
When it comes to ideas, I like taking stuff from ecom and applying it to info.
Why?
I think ecom is ahead of the game when it comes to customer acquisition.
Okay.
They're in a space where getting 10,000 customers a day is doable.
Mm-hmm.
Info, you'll get 10,000 customers a day and you're absolutely crushing it. And again, on the topic of margins, ecom guys are getting these customers with razor thin margins, or fewer margins. And so I just think they're ahead of the game when it comes to creative, getting attention, where is the cheap traffic, all of that stuff. And so I've seen quite a lot of success studying what works in ecom and bringing those ideas to the info space. Like the stuff that I was doing in ecom email marketing years ago, I've been applying happily in the info space.
Yep.
And only now am I seeing some of the info guys catch up to stuff that I was doing years ago. It's given me a very real arbitrage of skill. Mm-hmm. And so one of the reasons I'm even in Dubai today speaking with you is going to ecom events to see how 8-figure brand owners or 9-figure brand owners are scaling their ecom brands. What are they doing that info are not doing? Mm-hmm. Where is that gap? And playing in that gap. Mm-hmm. So I've got a few ideas, and that's what I'm going to go off and implement over the next 12 months.
Okay.